experimental card is coming soon, and it's going to include changes to Moira and to the support, and we think this could probably be a nerf to Moira. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa, thank you for watching, and a little bit of a disclaimer at the top of this video. If my voice sounds a little bit different, it is because I've got my air conditioning on full blast because it is mega hot in the UK today. Like, I am literally dying. Like, I can't leave my house because of the lockdown. I'm burning up in the house. I open the window and there's no airflow, so I'm forced to blast the air conditioning unit. So yeah, apologies for that. All right, let's get stuck into this. So let me just explain to you guys what happened. Now, Blizzard have set up a creator Discord, which has got Jeff Kaplan in, and they gave us the chance to ask Jeff questions on pretty much anything we wanted to ask questions on. Now, me being me, I want to know about Overwatch 2, and I want to know about big changes coming to the game. Unfortunately, there's not much information available on that. However, I'm going to show you guys the response I got from Jeff in this video, and I'm also going to show you the responses from people that have put their responses out publicly. What I'm not going to do is take screenshots of questions that have been asked that those creators haven't shared, because frankly, I don't think that's right. If those guys want to share those questions, then that's fair, because this server is, it's not something we should be spreading all the information out of, because it's supposed to be a candid, direct communication between the creators and the developers of the game and the community managers. Okay, so let's get stuck into this. The very first question I asked was this: can we expect the core PvP experience to move free to play this year? And you can see Jeff's response is, well, we don't have any announcements around business model right now, which is fair enough. This is me trying to poke to get a bit of info on what we could expect to see changing. This is because when you look around at the gaming landscape right now, you see games like Valorant that are doing extremely well. You see games like Call of Duty Warzone, which is doing extremely well. These games are free to play. And is the fact that Overwatch isn't free to play really damaging the game long term? And isn't this a good plan, considering we're going, hopefully, towards the launch of Overwatch 2? You make Overwatch free to play, people pick it up, and then they buy Overwatch 2. That's, of course, if Overwatch 2 is something you actually buy. Of course, we don't know any of these details, so this was me trying to get that information out of Jeff. So I was told off about asking for Overwatch 2 information, although I don't really think asking about free-to-play is necessarily Overwatch 2 info, but yeah, whatever. So I opened up with this question next. When can we expect Overwatch 2 to launch? Why go for randomly selected hero pools instead of outright targeted developer bans? If you want the meta changing on account of available heroes, why not simply theme weeks? This week it's dive, insert bans to non-dive heroes here. If meta weeks were known in advance, wouldn't this reduce the stress on our OWL players? And maybe stop them retiring, because a lot of OWL players are retiring right now. Oh dear. Oh god, it's pretty bad. If parity between Overwatch League and competitive was always a concern, why did we open up with different bans on Overwatch League and competitive? So in response, Jeff said, well, we started with developer selected pools. Largely, the community feedback was that it felt too targeted and too manipulative. The top Overwatch player request was to have synced pools. We can't have any hand of Blizzard in the picks if OWL is going to be involved. So, yeah, I mean, it's an okay response. Like, I was just trying to get into the mind of the developers, and almost what I was trying to do was see if they would speak about potentially a pick and ban system or anything like that, but it looks like they don't really want to share any information on that. So the way this worked is that I think there was like 20 or so creators that were asking questions, and you got a chance to ask a question. Jeff would give a response, and this was over a period of around about 1 hour, and this obviously only gave me the chance to answer 2 questions. This is because luckily I was the second person to ask a question. Now, I've got a whole host of questions I wanted to ask, things like balance, what are the biggest issues with the game right now, what are the developers working on, but I didn't really get the chance. However, a bunch of other creators kind of asked similar questions, so in this video we're going to break them down, most notably the changes that are coming to Moira, which is actually kind of big news. But before we get onto that, let's check this out. So Game Leap asked, do you plan on adding many more heroes to the game, especially tanks and supports, so that 1, queue times improve, and 2, a match-based ban system can be implemented? And Jeff said to this, we absolutely plan on adding more heroes to the game, specifically in Overwatch 2. I know the player base disagrees with me on this, but adding more heroes won't change queue times. We want to add them because they are cool and fun. I'm not really interested in a match-based ban system. I don't think it solves the problems players want it to solve. That it doesn't mean that it won't ever come to Overwatch. It just means that me and the team aren't particularly crazy with that idea at the moment. Yeah, I can't really expand too much on what he said there. I mean, that's just, take that at face value, I guess. I suppose it is interesting that he does say adding more heroes won't actually change the queue times, and I believe that's true, because I think the biggest thing that did change queue times was the 3-2-1 comp. Because suddenly you had 3 DPS. I think this is just the issue with Overwatch. More people want to play DPS. Hardly anybody wants to play tank, and then support is maybe slightly more popular than... Well, it is slightly more popular than tank. But DPS is always going to be the most popular mode. So let's talk about the Moira changes, which are coming to experimental soon, and the support changes. Samito asks, does the team plan to revisit how skill to reward works hero by hero, each role in-game? For example, Brig and Moira bypass the learning curve in crucial game knowledge and mechanics. And Jeff responded with, we want a mix of skill deltas across heroes. Part of what makes Overwatch the game that it is the variety and diversity of skill and playstyles. With that said, changes coming to Moira on the experimental card soon. But usually the community wants us to completely dumpster heroes or turn them into CSGO guns, which isn't going to happen. So this is interesting. This is Jeff saying, yeah, there are changes coming to Moira. And what makes me believe these are nerfs are, well, Samito is asking about nerfs here. He's saying, look, can Moira and Brig be nerfed because they're too easy to play at a high level? And Jeff is saying, okay, there's changes coming to these heroes. It has to be nerfs coming to Moira. And I'd imagine this might center around the way the beam works. So it's not just a direct lock-on. So you're going to kind of have to really aim at the enemy player. And in fact, maybe it should work like maybe old Symmetra's beam in a way, where you sort of, well, maybe not old Symmetra's beam, current Symmetra's beam, you have to aim it and it charges up. The longer you target people, it does more damage. Maybe that's the way to go with Moira. So there's another question here from Andy GMB, who was the GM of the Irish team in last year's World Cup. Again, expanding on hero pools. And he says, do you or the general developers' feelings think hero pools have been a success? And Jeff says, yes. If the design goal was to create a system that prevented players from fatiguing from a meta, goats or dive, etc., it was successful. Players sometimes want the system to solve other problems they have, i.e., I want more agency over what the other team is playing, and that's where it falls under criticism. But for the stated goal of keeping the meta fresh, I think it's done a good job so far. Yeah, you know, it kind of has. I mean, in one way, it does promote players to play other heroes, but we always cycle back to this question of, is that the way Overwatch should be? We know that players really relate to certain heroes, and I'm sure Jeff and the Overwatch team know this, but if your hero is then not available for play, it really annoys the hell out of you. Now, I think this is partly the reason why everybody on the Master will no longer have hero pools, because that's where the majority of the player base is. In fact, it's not even 3% of the player base, which is in Master and above. So, yeah, you guys can sort of work out from that why they've decided to remove hero pools from literally 97% or 96%, or whatever the hell. It's over like 95% of the player base actually is. So, Master Ian asks, retrospectively, are there things you wish you'd done differently with the 11 post-launch heroes? And Jeff says, so I actually think the release frequency was good, 3 a year. I know we've slowed down approaching Overwatch 2. Overwatch isn't a MOBA and isn't Dota 2 or LoL. We don't want hundreds of characters in the game. Also, our players identify with our characters in so many ways, and we want more from them. Stories, skins, and balance, etc. That adding lots of heroes more frequently sort of takes away from that. I also don't think the game needs infinity heroes. I think it plays best when you can recognize enemies, etc. For roles, if we were to do it all over, we'd have a better balance between tank, support, and DPS. But I think never adding DPS again because we have even numbers is a huge mistake. I do like their identities. That's something I think we do a good job with. Although, we almost had World War III over Hammond. The team was very split. So yeah, I mean, this kind of makes sense. It would be nice to see what actually World War III was about Hammond, because I think Hammond is really pushing the boundaries of what they class to be a hero. And I think before that, it was most definitely Winston. You know, these are not humanoid, and I think probably their original design goal was, hey, let's have a lot of like humanoid characters, but hey, let's have a giant monkey. It's like, okay. And then let's have a hamster in a ball. It's like, okay, I think we're going too far. So this probably means we won't see any more out there heroes, and Hammond might be the sort of pinnacle we get with those hero designs. But I mean, what do you guys think? I honestly don't agree with this. I think hero launches are what brings people to Overwatch. And when you start reducing the number of heroes that come out, it really suffers as a result, because people are not coming back to check out Overwatch. I also think, in terms of changing the meta, the most disruptive thing they can do is add a new hero. So if you do that more often, then surely that's going to spice the game up. So I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. I would like to see more heroes in the game. So just to expand a little bit more on the Moira and the experimental card, Jeff responded with this. Yes, we're making some buffs and nerfs very soon, and a lot of adjustments to supports. Some buffing, some nerfing. Probably the top thing that me and the hero designers are focused on is barriers and crowd control. They are necessary to make Overwatch work like Overwatch, but they can also cause big issues when the game feels dominated by them or oppressive. So this goes on to the experimental card, which is coming soon. We don't know when this is, but Jeff says it's coming soon, so I'd expect it possibly next week or the week after, and it's going to be a big support pass by the looks of it. So who is going to get buffed here and who is going to get nerfed? We think Moira is going to get nerfed based on Jeff's older comments to Samita that we went over in this video, because why raise that hero's name if he was asking about nerfs to Brigham Moira, and he brings up Moira as being changed. In terms of buffs, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Maybe Zen, because Zen is in a really tough spot right now. But the thing with Zen, he has Discord, which is a really strong ability. So I don't know what they could do with Zen. So we're going to have to wait and see. But this is good news either way. So Jeff was also asked about skins and how far in advance do they prepare the skins? Are they open to ideas for new skins and all of that jazz? And this is what he says. Skins are designed very far in advance, almost a year. They go through a very long pipeline to get made though. We love community suggestions and pay close attention. For Mercy, it is fun to do light and dark skins, so good odds she has a cool skin coming up. So this again is a bit of a teaser off Jeff. He likes to do this kind of thing. There's apparently a good skin coming for Mercy very soon, possibly with the anniversary event, I would imagine, and it could be a dark skin, so like an evil skin. I don't know. So there you go, guys. Those are the questions that are public at the moment, including the 2 questions that I asked. Like I said, there are a bunch of other questions in there. You'll probably see answers to those coming up from various creators over the next couple of days if they do want to share their answers. Now, the good news with this is it was sort of a test. The community managers for Overwatch put this together just to sort of give us a little bit of access to Jeff, and I think it worked quite well. And we're going to see more of this going forward. So probably what will happen is I might take questions off you guys and then just sort of curate the best ones and then ask them, because a lot of the questions I want answering, I don't think we're ever going to get answers to, because it's all Overwatch 2 centric. I believe we're sitting in one giant Overwatch 2 waiting room. It doesn't take a blind man to notice what's going on in the gaming world right now. Overwatch is in a bit of a difficult place. For as much as it's a great game, it is suffering a bit through a bunch of different reasons. New games coming out, the pro scene collapsing at various levels, and it's not great. And I think we're all sitting here waiting and hoping that Overwatch 2 is going to be this fantastic, awesome game. But on the other side, also we want to see a bit more news relating to Overwatch 2. Are we going to get teasers for it this year? Are we going to get any information for Overwatch 2 this year? All right, guys, I've been Stylosa, and I hope you guys enjoyed this roundup of the community Q&A, which did take place on Discord. If you're watching this video on the day it went live, it was the day before. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.